Leadership as an interscholastic athletic administrator is a lot of hard work and is often a thankless job. When things go well, the teams deservedly get the credit. When things go wrong, it is you that often gets the blame. Leadership is an ever evolving idea, one that changes depending on who needs to be led. Vince Lombardi said, "Leaders aren't born, they are made. They are made by hard effort, which is the price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal which is worthwhile." In this presentation, I'll be going over the 6 leadership styles, leading into a discussion on my own personal leadership style, my leadership philosophy, and a few ideas for how I and anyone can work to become a more effective leader. Anne Breen, in her article on leadership theory, introduces 6 styles of leadership that can be used for different people in different scenarios. It is important for any leader to develop a mix of these styles and to be flexible. Learning how to best handle people is a critical aspect of anyone in a leadership role. The affiliative style is a nurturing approach that is built on trust and positive feedback. These features allow for the development of bonds, teamwork, and communication. This method can be incredibly useful when a new team is just forming and coming together, or if there is tension building within the group. This method is built on reinforcement of positivity. The authoritative style is effective in most situations. An authoritative leader provides a clear vision that is meant to motivate the team to find their own path, all the while providing a supportive structure. The biggest challenge an authoritative leader faces is being too overbearing. On a similar beat, the coaching style is meant to provide guidance and assistance to individuals who are willing to improve. A leader must be committed not only to the mission and purpose of the organization, but also in the improvement of people within the team. The coaching style focuses on personal development. The coercive style of leadership is meant to be relegated to emergency situations, as it can be incredibly negative towards the overall climate of the organization. This is the do as I say style of leadership, which does not really promote individuality or creativity. This method does not foster pride or support development and ought to be utilized in dire situations, i.e., uh, natural disasters or a pending takeover. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the democratic style looks to the people within the organization and gauges opinions. Leaders may utilize this to increase buy-in and to build trust. This style can be incredibly useful if a new direction for the organization is required. Finally, the pace-setting style is meant to set the tone for an organization. Without a strong vision, the style cannot succeed and will destroy the climate of the team. This sets a standard for high performance while maintaining a tight agenda. A strong team that knows what they are doing will respond well to this style. As for my preferred leadership styles, the 3 that I feel most comfortable using include the authoritative, coaching, and pace setting styles. An authoritative leader provides a clear vision that can motivate everyone within the program or organization, at the same time, providing a supportive structure. As an athletic administrator, it is my responsibility to establish the vision of the athletic program and see to its success through the individuals brought in to make up the athletic team, whether they be coaches, administrative assistants, the general student athletes within the program, etc. Um, I believe firmly that once a standard is set and people understand what is expected of them, They should be given the ability to be creative in their approach. I think this goes very well with the coaching style, because if someone's struggling, any leader should be willing and able to work with that individual to see to their personal improvement, so long as that individual is willing to improve, obviously. Sometimes leadership requires that we take a step back and build an individual up from the base level, especially when that individual shows an interest or an eagerness to learn. Coaching can be a frustrating endeavor, and not everyone is meant to do it. It really is a calling, and one that should not be taken lightly. Personal development improves the team, and it is my job as an athletic administrator to get the most out of everyone involved in the program. When the team is functioning optimally, I'm able to implement the pace setting style, setting a high bar for success while maintaining a tight ship. This requires the vision to be clear and for all individuals to be on board. This also allows for some flexibility and for anyone struggling to get the help that they need. When one person finds that improvement, the entire team, organization, will be all the better for it. It can be a difficult challenge to sit down and come up with what your philosophy is regarding a topic. For me, athletics is such a massive part of my life that my thoughts can become quickly clustered with things that are ultimately unimportant. Keeping myself grounded is something that I have to remind myself of a lot. My philosophy as an interscholastic athletic administrator is to inspire self growth and development for all student athletes, coaches, and the overall community by promoting a family like mindset and through an overall love of sport. Frederick Hertzberg's hygiene factors help provide insight on what are some motivating factors for individuals to reach their best. I work all the time to motivate student athletes by recognizing their achievements both on and off the field. Kids love it when they can be in the spotlight for a moment, even if nobody else is watching. If there is somebody that is noticing their hard work, they will push themselves further. The cool thing about being an athletic administrator is we are not only called to lead student athletes, we are also responsible for leading coaches and other adults that may be on our staff. Hertzberg's mentions achievement and recognition as true motivators. However, another aspect he mentions is responsibility. As an athletic administrator, allowing coaches the grace to take ownership of their team is a massive motivator for the coach to do the best job they can. I speak from personal experience as a coach myself. When the athletic director is too involved or micromanaging the program, it can become a drag to work within that athletic program. Most coaches want an athletic administrator that will recognize their achievement and allow them the opportunity to be responsible for their team. One of the challenges of recognizing achievement, however, is the risk that people become too complacent or do not push themselves further since their performance was seen as satisfactory. As an athletic administrator, it's our job to continually challenge not only ourselves, but our team for better improvement. Keith Kent writes about the philosophy of a servant leader, discussing an essay by Robert K. Greenleaf, who coined the phrase servant leader and servant leadership. Kent states, quote, Greenleaf said that the servant leader is servant first. By that, he meant that the desire to serve, the servant's heart, is a fundamental characteristic of a servant leader. It is not about being servile. It is about wanting to help others. It is about identifying and meeting the needs of colleagues, customers, and communities. I believe strongly in this message and philosophy that any person who leads ought to have a mindset to be a servant first. As an athletic director or an athletic administrator, it is the business to serve the student athletes, coaches, and community in which they administer. It's our responsibility to ensure the people we serve have the tools necessary to do and be their best. While it's my goal to treat my program as a family, there will be times when the family will not agree on an issue. When it comes to conflict management, Ann Lore provides an overview of 5 different styles of how to lead through conflict: competing, collaborating, compromising, avoiding, and accommodating. I work hard to collaborate with individuals to achieve an optimal outcome for all involved. Sometimes this may require some compromise and accommodations. Avoiding a conflict, I view, is never a successful outcome, as it leaves questions unanswered and can increase tension. Relationship building is a foundational aspect of leadership. Someone in a leadership role must know and understand their team and the people involved. While I may have my own personal standard I want to meet, it is critical to learn the group you oversee, what makes each individual tick, their strengths and weaknesses, and how to effectively reach those individuals. The biggest way for me to ease conflict scenarios is through communication. I find that a lack of communication is often the root cause of most issues. Ryan Hedstrom discusses strategies on how effective communication enables us to coach through conflict. He discusses both verbal and nonverbal communication strategies. I think his most helpful message he shares is to engage in active listening, which encourages and validates the other parties to speak openly on their opinions to seek the root of the conflict. Additionally, it is critical to be direct and forthcoming, not to stop communicating or use put downs or sarcasm. Hedstrom states, quote, whether it is conflict over playing time, personality clashes, or negative emotions from defeat, conflict can greatly damage team chemistry. As a coach, you have responsibility to identify, manage, and diffuse conflict. By understanding effective communication strategies, you can better manage conflict within your team. John Maxwell offers 17 laws of teamwork that any leader can look at for inspiration for, for bettering their leadership skills. There are 4 laws I want to highlight that I remind myself of often to maintain my clarity and focus. Maxwell's second law is one that I must remind myself of often: the law of the big picture. A lot of times, I can get caught up in the details and overlook the impact I have on individuals. I've said it before, I'm always looking to keep myself grounded and not get too far ahead of myself. The big picture is the vision and philosophy of the athletic program. My personal agenda is not important compared to that of the athletic program, and while that can be difficult to manage, it is vitally important to do so. The eighth law is the law of the bad apple, and it reminds us that our attitude can bring people together or see to its failure. Having a positive and uplifting attitude helps bring people together. When you want results, great talent is not enough. Great people with a positive outlook that is willing to uplift others is also what is required. But what makes a good attitude? That question can be entirely subjective and often is dependent on the intended climate of the program or organization. For me, a me first mindset, or someone looking to take credit for others' successes, is the antithesis of what our purpose is as athletic administrators and coaches. Rotten attitudes that go left unchecked can destroy the climate of any program. Maxwell's 14th law is always a great reminder. It's the law of communication. As I presented in the previous slide, I find that when conflicts arise, there's usually a lack of communication. While I view myself as a strong communicator, there remain times when I fall short and someone mishears me or does something incorrectly because I offered poor instructions. I must work hard every day to uplift everyone within the athletic program and provide clear communication when something needs to be completed. The final law I viewed as something I must work at to become a better leader is the 16th law. It is the law of high morale. This law is similar to that of the law of the bad apple. Sometimes things don't go the way we want them to. As leaders, we cannot allow poor performance to affect the climate of the program. Losing or negativity breeds toxicity, and the last thing a program needs to be seen as is toxic. Maintaining high morale keep the environment healthy, and people always want to live in a healthy environment. Nobody is an expert on leadership. Every organization or program is different and requires different leadership methods and styles. A good leader recognizes their shortcomings and works hard to better themselves for the betterment of the group. Leadership is hard. Why on earth would anyone want to volunteer to add that stress to their lives? That answer depends on the individual you ask. I view it as a calling. I have a passion for teaching and promoting youth athletics and love working with young people in a competitive environment. I'm a natural competitor, and coaching baseball has provided me the opportunity to teach the game I love and work with some amazing student athletes. Some of the pictures that you've seen throughout this presentation is from my baseball team at Beaver, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It allows me to help mold a group of individuals into a family toward one common goal. And when we don't reach that goal, we take a step back, reevaluate, and try it again. That's the fun of it. Matthew Morgan, in his article on the principles of leadership, offers some advice on how to run an effective organization. Do the basics well and be the best at what you do. The basics include the purpose, vision, and philosophy of the organization. Understand those well, and you'll have a better chance of success. As a competitor, being the best at what I do spoke to me. I don't want to be just any leader or coach. I want to be the best I possibly can for my team, and I will work tirelessly to be the person they need me to be. That is what effective leadership requires. Your best.